Welcome back YouTube, Nick here with a different style dirt bike video today. What we'll be doing is building an Endurocross section into a turn track we have in the forest. What you're seeing here is where we will be building this section. It is located right off the edge of the turn track, and instead of hitting a 180, you will continue straight through a section, turn around, go through another Endurocross section, and then hop back on the track. For this first video, we're going to be really focused on building a matrix that will end up with chopped wood. So the first thing we needed to do was gather a lot of trees. Alright, now that we've shown you our process for getting wood, which is really just finding old dead stuff, cutting it down and dragging it over, it's time to clean up the area we'll be building it. I'm back already, and this area is looking nice and clean and ready for us to get to work. An Endurocross build is just like any other sort of dirt bike track build. The better plan you have going into it, the better your end result will be. Unfortunately, I've never ridden an actual Endurocross track, but I'm sure their spec isn't crooked dead logs like it is for us, so we're going to throw this together in the general idea I have and see how it works. This section of the Endurocross track is going to start with a large speed check log and then go into a chopped wood matrix with a bridge down the middle before spitting you out into the corner. What we are going to first build in this section is the matrix because it is going to be a complex series of logs bolted together. Step 1, we're going to put the first log in place, put a few stakes in to help hold it, and then we're going to line up the bridge log for the middle. Alright, so we've got our center bridge log about where we need it, and we really just need to level and then put some stakes in to make sure it stays where it needs to until we can add some dirt. If you're wondering why we have a giant milled log, this tree fell down a few years ago and my dad had milled a few boards out of it. Then it just sat in our front yard. I've actually been dirt biking across it quite a bit, and I thought, hell, why not put in the Endurocross track? So I thought to myself, what's more fun than a chopped wood pit? A chopped wood pit with a giant log in the middle. So I'm going to trim the face to make it square with the track. Then this part of the section is good to go, and we're going to bring the logs in for the side. Alright, we have our logs for the left and right side of the wood pit. I do not have any fancy metal banding or anything to attach this, so what we'll be doing is cutting the edges nice and square like a log cabin, and then using giant 6-inch wood screws to mount them together. You will see in this video that there is one screw that doesn't get screwed in. I made the mistake of trying to drive it straight in. Even with an impact on these, you're going to want to work them in and out slowly to make sure the sawdust escapes before you drive it into completion. This method seemed to hold up really well, and we had no issue with these two logs on the end or the face log rolling. These are the only things we hard anchored together today. Everything else we'll just kind of put in place so we can test the spacing, but we will look to do similar things for future logs to mount them because this has worked so well. Now that we have bolted together the front logs, we're going to put some other logs in place to test and see if that's how we like the spacing. The first thing is the log that will mark the end of the chop wood pit. I think this spacing will be good long term, but we're just really putting this in place to test, and then after riding it, we'll come back and make some tweaks. Now that we have finished the chop wood pit and matrix, we are going to just drop a couple more logs in place before doing testing. We will first add a log in the middle of the corner. This is to give us practice for cornering around a log. You'll notice we'll swap out the first one with a smaller one because we're not that gnarly yet. And then we're just going to add logs to the far straightaway to really get a feel for the spacing. I will be terribly staking down these remaining logs, so don't sit there and judge us and think this is how we will ride it forever. This was literally just for testing. We will come back and either dirt them in or put posts in the ground and mount them to them. Thanks for tuning in to the first installment of our Endurocross build. We've got some awesome additional things we're planning on bringing over, some big ass tractor tires, more logs. It'll definitely be a fun series, so more to come. All that's left today is to watch me do some testing and some crashing. The big one.
Your knee's gone. Need help?
No. Got it? I'm leaving it there for a second. Let it think about what it's doing.